All right, so we're ready to start talking scratch art. Now, the principle behind this is we have white paper that's coated with some kind of black ink surface. And when we use a sharp object, it scratches off the surface. I've laid out here the basic tools that I like to use, although there are many that you can use. Uh, I'm going to send you a picture of one of my favorite phenomenal scratch art pieces. It defies understanding how much time and patience went into making the image, but I will send that to you. Um, we want to talk about these things. We have like a regular quill type pen. We have like a needle nail type pen that has a very sharp tip on the end of it. It's just a needle that comes out, nail. We have a wood stick, and we have a wood dowel that's been sharpened, and we have a flat popsicle stick that has been sharpened. Now, before we even start, I want to say this. The surface on this paper has to be able to be scraped off. Now, when you put your hands on it too much, it makes the oiliness of your fingers get all over the surface of the paper. You can even see the shine of your fingerprints, and it won't scratch off. The oil provides some sort of lubrication that allows the quill to slip across the top without gouging it and cutting through it. So you want to kind of be careful. You want to kind of be careful of how much you hold your image and where your fingers go. They can go on the outside edges, or you could just tape down your paper just very lightly on the edges. That would be fine. A second thing that I want to mention about this, second thing, you can cut right through the paper by pushing too hard. The instruments like this especially will cut right through the paper. So you want to be careful. You want to be aware of how much black you're taking off. Now, we're going to start with this pen. And if you notice, as you scratch across, it creates a, now I'm not pushing very hard. See, and I can use the tip edge to make a fine line like this. I can use the side of this to make a wider scrape. And you can even lay it flat and scrape off whole areas. That will make the sound of a chalkboard, if you like. If that bothers you, you probably don't want to do that. Now, how do you get medium tones? This is white, this is black. How do you get a medium tone on here? Well, if we're doing, say like we're doing like the edge of a ball, I should have taped the top. Hold on, I'm going to tape it. I'm not going to put up with sliding paper, and it probably would be good to tape your corners because that'll keep your paper from sliding. Now, if I'm drawing the side of a ball, say, all right, and I want to create light on that side, I do so by many little lines. It's called cross-hatching, and you'll find the direction changes the way this goes on here. And you can go both ways. Let's see. A good exercise to do would be to create a variation of shade like we did when we did shading on crosshatch paper. Let's see what this does is creates, say the back of the ball was here. That creates kind of a round look to that object. All right, that's the flat pen. We have our quill, which some people like because it makes very, very fine lines. And if you're doing some very fine cross-hatching, it may work. Be careful not to push too hard because it will go right through the paper. A safer bet is always the stick, and it works pretty good. See, it takes off some nice bold lines. You don't have to be so careful about pushing through the paper. You can get some very nice effects with the end of a wooden stick. And the same would be true with this stick. You can create fun stuff with the wooden stick. So they're all very good objects, and they all work very nicely. I want to encourage you to practice a little bit. I'm going to lay some scrap pieces out, and I want you to practice on doing this a little bit. Now, let me show you a couple images. This image is one that I did a couple years back, and it is the inkwell that's made out of a pig's foot that sits on my desk. Now notice how these white areas provide contrast for the darker areas, and how the white area provides contrast for the shadow, to create that shadow on there. Okay, here is an object that you will probably recognize. Okay, this is our urn, and I did this rather hurriedly. It probably took about 5 or 10 minutes to do this, but notice how we increase, I'm going to hold it, notice how we increase the lines to create the bright white, and how we leave very few lines to create the darker areas. Notice also how it is important that we have a background in here somehow to allow this dark area to show up. Notice how I didn't just scribble all over, but I kept the lines parallel to each other to create the feeling of one space behind it. When you just scribble, like some of you did on your other picture, it just looks like busyness around it. It doesn't appear like it's the background. All right, let me show you another one. This is a student's. Okay, this is one that a student did. And it's pretty good. I mean, I like it. It's not too bad. And here's another one that I did. I took a little more time with, and I may have to expand to show you. But the light's coming from the other side, you see. And notice how bright the light is in here, and how the light coming from this side creates light inside and that, and outside and that. That shows you that you're inside the urn. Notice how bright it hits on this edge, and how it's a little bit less back here. Notice how we just have basically black. This has a complete black background, which I don't mind because I have this little bit of this white line. Notice how bright the light is on the front edge, and how it tapers off the back, the dark edge. And notice the symmetry of the urn, and trying to keep that shape symmetrical. All right, so I'm not sure that you're going to get on to too much of it today because this video is coming up late. But this is a project that we're going to be taking the next 2 or 3 days. I'm saying we need to be done with it by Friday to complete. Thank you, and don't forget to check out the other scratch art images I am going to put on this file. Have a good day. Bye.